I am really excited about today's video. There are so many good, amazing shows out there that I'm really looking forward to talking to you about. It was actually painful for me to only have to put 20 shows on this list because there's so many other shows that I really like. But unfortunately, I can't include them all. So, here are my top 20 favorite TV shows of all time.
Psych you out in the end.
Number 20. One of the most popular shows of all time is one of my favorite shows of all time as well. I'm pretty sure that all of you have at least heard of this show, if not seen it, so I'm not going to explain what it's about. All I'm going to say is that this show is hilarious, heartwarming, and just so emotional. Over the 10 seasons of this show, you really get to care about and know Rachel, Monica, Phoebe, Chandler, Joey, and Ross. And they all grow as characters as well. The later seasons are a lot weaker than the earlier ones. However, no matter how silly the show gets in its later years, it always manages to make me laugh. Number 19. This Is Us. From the creators of that film where Ryan Gosling took his shirt off, comes a show where a box of tissues is required to be nearby during every single episode because you will be crying your eyes out in every single episode, whether they are happy or sad tears. Okay, fine, maybe I'm exaggerating a little, but this show is really emotional. What's unique about this show is not only is it a show about a happy, functional family released during a time where there are so many shows about dysfunctional families, but also there are so many twists and turns in the show that add something unique and clever. Sterling K. Brown, who plays Randall Pearson on the show, and Chris Darden on that O.J. Simpson show with Cuba Gooding Jr., has been getting a lot of awards recognition for his performance, and he totally deserves it. However, I don't think that enough praise or recognition is given to Milo Ventimiglia, Chrissy Metz, Justin Hartley, and Mandy Moore because they all deliver amazing performances as well. If you haven't seen this emotional roller coaster of a show, I highly recommend it, but be prepared to cry a lot. Number 18. Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide. I know that many of you film or TV lovers watching will probably get upset at me or really confused that I put this seemingly childish show on my list, but I had to. I just love this show way too much. Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide is about three best friends named Ned, Cookie, and Mose who must navigate through the trials and tribulations of middle school with the help of Ned's trusty guide and several of their wacky, eccentric friends. What's great about this show is that even though there is a lot of childish humor, it is still balanced well with good life lessons, clever editing, and surprisingly brilliant writing. And the lessons and tips they provide in each episode are actually really helpful and great for kids. That and many other positive aspects about the show make this show, for me, one of my personal favorites. Number 17. Kim Possible. This is another seemingly childish show that may confuse a lot of you as to why it is exactly on this list, so let me explain. While Kim Possible may not have the best writing or pacing, and Ron Stoppable is kind of annoying sometimes, I still do enjoy the silliness and creativity of all the scenarios main character Kim Possible must go through, and the voice acting is above average. However, the biggest reason why I love this show so much is the simplest. The lead character on this show is a girl. Now, that is very common nowadays with shows like Casey Undercover, Liv and Maddie, and Jessie, but back then, 8-year-old me did not see a kid-friendly show with a lead female character very often, or think that that could even be possible. I know that sounds kind of messed up, but keep in mind, I was a kid. This show is just so special for me because it was just so cool for 8-year-old me to see this cool, empowered girl kicking butt. It was just so cool to me. This show changed that limited perspective about female leading characters that I've had. If you haven't seen this show, I highly recommend it. It is for sure one of the better shows on Disney Channel. Number 16. The Punisher. Originally, I was going to put Daredevil on this list because that used to be my favorite Marvel Netflix show, and I want to put one of the Marvel Netflix shows on my list. However, after some thinking, I decided that The Punisher is my new favorite Netflix show from Marvel. This show is brutal, graphic, and disturbing, but also excellent, well written, well acted, and quite emotional at times. Post-traumatic stress disorder is shown excellently and accurately in the show, especially through main character Frank Castle, aka the Punisher, who is played wonderfully by John Bernthal. Also excellent in the show is the action, the cinematography, the concept on how far actions and choice for the sake of justice can go, and of course, the action. Yes, I said action twice, but it is really that good. If you're easily squeamish and don't like bloody violence, then this show may not be for you. However, if you don't mind all that stuff, then check this show out on Netflix right now. Number 15, The Simpsons. So, I'm going to be talking about just the first 8 seasons of the show because that's all that I've seen. The Simpsons is a show about the Simpsons family who live in the fictional town of Springfield. Despite being an animated series, the world and the characters, as weird as and eccentric as they all just feel so real because of how well written they are. As you watch the series, you get really emotionally connected with the Simpsons family and want them to succeed in everything that they do. The voice acting in the show is some of the best I've ever heard, and there are quite a few times in the show that get really emotional. Also, I'm not sure if this opinion is popular or not, but I actually really like the Simpsons movie. Definitely check this show out. Number 14, Frasier. A show about a radiotherapist who is supposed to help other people with their problems, but constantly gets overwhelmed with problems of his own. How ironic, right? This show is actually a spin-off of a very popular show in the 80s called Cheers, which centered around a group of colorful characters who often hung around the local bar. One of those characters is radiotherapist Fraser Crane, who is the main character in this show. Fraser goes through life comforting people who call him at his station, and yet must also deal with his demanding father, his eccentric brother, and his father's nurse at home. Just like Cheers, this show ran for 11 seasons. I don't know if it needed to run on for that long, but I can definitely see why it did. This show is comedy gold in every way. The writing is clever, and all the actors do a great job. Heck, even actors who only appear in guest roles do a great job as well. The entire series is available on Netflix and Hulu right now, so as soon as the video is over, start watching. Oh, and rest in peace, John Mahoney. Number 13, Futurama. This is another show from the creator of The Simpsons, Matt Groening, that is animated and hilarious. This show is about a down-on-his-luck pizza delivery guy named Philip J. Fry, who accidentally travels in time to the year 2999 and attempts to revamp his life in this new futuristic and weird world. Like many other shows on this list, this one has a great eccentric cast of characters who get to really grow as characters and even have episodes centered on each one of them. But in my opinion, the best character in terms of story, hilarity, and popularity is Bender, whose catchphrase is quite hilarious.
Bite my shiny metal ass.
Check the whole series out on Netflix and Hulu right now. Number 12, Community. From Dan Harmon, who also co-created the Adult Swim hit show Rick and Morty, comes this show from NBC that, just like Rick and Morty, is filled with weird characters, meta humor, and surprisingly emotional moments. Centered around 7 vastly different people who are attending Greendale Community College, this show parodies various tropes from popular films and television, and features and sometimes makes fun of multiple pop culture references. This show's writing is just so brilliant, and the performances by everyone is really, really good. The show does decrease in quality after season 3 due to Dan Harmon being fired as showrunner, and even when he was rehired, the show never fully regained its momentum. Still, this is one of the funniest shows of all time and definitely deserves a spot on my list. Number 11, The Office. So, if my best shows list had only 10 slots and not 20, then this show would unfortunately not make it.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
However, even though The Office is much lower on my list than some hardcore fans of the show would like it to be, I still love, I will say again, love this show. Everyone is just so perfect in their role. In fact, whenever I see an actor from this show in a different show or movie, I don't see them as that other character. I see them as Meredith or Jim or Stanley. My favorite, obviously, is Steve Carell, who plays the really weird and kind of dumb boss, Michael Scott. Michael Scott is the guy that you love to hate, and then you love him. Everyone is absolutely wonderful in this film, and the writing is extremely funny. Even though that the first, 8th, and 9th season are really weak, it is still some of the best comedic television that I have ever seen.